Welcome back to Homophonic, and I can't even speak.
That's right.
Everybody. We're trying
Right.
here.
From the top.
From the top. Welcome back to Homophonic, everybody. I don't know what that was. We're once again joined by John Michael, friend of the pod. More like I don't even know what's beyond friend at this point. Like
Friend of the pod. I don't
friend of the
know.
pod. Like
I have to think.
co-hosts. I don't know. Yeah. Like
I
there
mean,
we
it does
go.
seem to be that.
It does seem to be that, and I have no other way. But I almost feel kind of like naked without Z right now. We should
I
record
know,
it
right?
2 weeks in a row.
Especially because all we've done is talk about Lady Gaga for the last week and a half.
All we've done, and I'm not mad about it. I am
At
not
all.
mad
At
about
all.
it. It's
Because
funny.
I have to. The entire internet has been talking about it. It feels like.
I know, which is great. I love that.
Oh yeah.
I am thrilled that she's been receiving this love and this acclaim and just getting her flowers. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, but I will say the thing that has been making me laugh so much on TikTok is so every time somebody puts up a piece of content that seems to go viral around Mayhem or anything Gaga right now, she's been reposting and she's been talking about
Right.
how she's been seeing all the content and sharing and commenting and whatever, and it's been totally her and I love her and whatever.
Yeah.
But what I've also noticed is that when people put up content that maybe isn't great content, or maybe it's just somebody's trying but they're not just there yet, and instead of people writing Lady Gaga reposted in the comments when she does, it'll just say Lady Gaga reported. It's been making me laugh so hard because I'm like, that's such a funny way of doing that. It's
That's
just like a
amazing.
gentle shade where it's like Lady Gaga reported.
Lady Gaga reported. She was like, I don't know
I
about
don't
this
know,
one.
not this one, not this
Not
one,
this one.
not this one. Keep trying.
Keep trying,
Yeah,
you guys. Oh my
but
God. Well, you and I posted, or a few episodes back, we had gotten into, what is Madonna's worst song?
oh,
And
I have the answers pulled up.
And I was, so do I. And I was like, I feel like we need to kind of go into this a little bit because we kind of talked about it briefly in the last episode, but there are some opinions.
Well, and I think that so far it seems to be this post is the runaway post right now for the podcast.
It really is. Yeah.
Right.
And so like I'm trying to think of like who's next.
Right. Like every few days I get like a comment where it's like such and such tagged 6 other people and I'm like, oh boy. I was like, here we go.
I know. It is truly the gift that keeps on giving. So
Right.
I mean, I'm going to start kind of from the beginning. I don't know.
Yeah.
Would you like to start somewhere or?
No. I mean, I think it's fine because it's like there's a lot of double ups for sure. A lot of people definitely have the same opinions about certain songs, which is fine. There's a lot that I do agree with in the comments too.
Absolutely. I want to start out with this person, Valid Destifats. Valley Destifats.
I'm not even seeing that.
Let's celebrate that. Let's celebrate that name. This is their comment. Trashing Hey You has become a recurring basic boomer joke amongst M fans. No surprise there. And I'm just kind of like, okay, like taking it so seriously so quick. But then they said, let's make it interesting and talk about Till Death Do Us Part, Some Girls, Miles Away, Devil Pray, and Batuka, which are, in my opinion, all excellent songs.
That's kind of what I wanted to say and talk about, because it's like I realize that this is all very subjective and it's all obviously these are just our opinions, but like Till Death Do Us Part, you think that's one of Madonna's worst songs? Like, hold on a second.
Like a song that's about like domestic violence, and
first of all, and is like the most cheerful song about domestic violence that I've ever heard.
Literally, yeah, because it's like almost sounds like a video game, like
right, and is arguably one of my favorite Madonna songs.
Yeah,
it's
and then so I can understand Some Girls because it's from MDNA. That's a controversial album. I personally like Some Girls. I love like all the hidden lyrics and voice notes in the song. But Miles Away, like
that's crazy to me. That was crazy.
Devil Pray, another fan favorite from Rebel Heart.
Yes, that's actually one of the ones that I like from Rebel Heart.
And I love Batuka. I thought
I do
Batuka was
too.
I thought Batuka was such a cool song.
And it was so good in the live show as well. And it's funny because I feel like what I started seeing people write about Madam X specifically in the comments was like how I feel like most people feel about Madam X is sort of how I feel mostly about MDNA. And
Sure.
it's like, I really enjoyed Madam X, I think because I took it for what it was, understanding that this is not Madonna giving us like a pop album. This is her giving us like a concept piece of art. You
Right,
know, there
yeah.
was something was going on. There was a deeper story. There was other things happening.
Yeah.
But
She was very inspired. I remember her saying something like she was inspired by living in Portugal, being a
right,
soccer mom,
right.
to
Well,
David.
and the thing that always gets me, and I say this to Brian all the time, is that when it comes to Madonna specifically, if you are a casual fan, somebody that knows like the 80s hits or even the 90s hits or whatever, even, you know, confession stuff, you're not going to really understand all the sort of peaks and valleys. And if you are a serious fan, that doesn't mean that you have to also like everything that she does. But I
Right.
think that when people question how we got here or why this happened, I'm like, all right, well, clearly I'm very plugged into this woman's life. And
Yeah.
and, and I sort of, I guess I understand it on some levels, but it's like nothing about Madam X really was shocking to me. Where people were like, what is she doing? What is it? And I'm like, I don't know. If you sort of pay attention, she kind of tells you every time.
Right, same.
Right.
That's a perfect way of putting that because I was like, "Oh, this is very Madonna. Like this is
Right.
very her." Like it didn't feel it's left field in the sense of like it's an artistic album, but it's very on brand for her.
Totally.
And you have to be very unplugged from her to think that this is out of nowhere, you
Right.
know?
Right.
Like the woman that gave us erotica, the woman that gave us uh American Life,
Right.
you know?
I look and I remember I remember texting my friends Dan and Ryan. I was in the MoMA, I want to say, in New York City, and
Uh-huh.
Dark Ballet had just been released, and I was literally sitting in the middle of the museum with my headphones on, listening to this song, and I'm like, what on earth is this woman doing? I was like, I have no idea. And we're all texting each other and we're all trying to make sense of it. And I said, you know what? I was like, I am going to trust that she has a bigger vision than what my brain can handle
Yeah.
right now. I
Yeah.
said, and I'm just going to roll with it. This doesn't feel
Here
like a standalone, but
Right. Here's what I will say about Madam X is that it was the first Madonna album that I have said publicly. But really truly the only Madonna album where I was like none of the singles really captured me
right.
in any which way. Medellin definitely grew on me. I loved the remixes that they did and like many Madonna songs, I felt like a lot of the remixes either amplified or made the song better.
Hmm.
Um, and so I felt that way about Medellin. And then there were remixes for I Don't Search, I Find, but that came out at like after the album
Yeah.
came out. But leading up to the excuse me, leading up to the album, she had released Medellin, Crave. I think that she released I Rise. She
Hmm.
released, and then I think that she released Future as a promo single.
Yes.
And none of them were really doing anything for me. So
Right.
I personally was worried that I wasn't going to like the album. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be the first Madonna album that I don't like. But then it saved me with like God Control. It saved me with and the song. There's a song on there that I feel like a lot of people hate that I actually thought was really fun. It was the other song with Maluma,
I
"Bitch I'm
love it.
Loca."
I love
It's
it.
I kind of feel like it should have been the first single
I agree.
because it's a lot more radio friendly. It's a lot more pop. It's very in that Latin inspired. I don't know if it's full on reggaeton. I don't think it's reggaeton. Is it
I mean, I guess it's sort
teetering?
of, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is in that yeah, it's definitely in the reggaeton style, and I guess because Maluma's on it, but
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it feels crazy that she had the track "Faz Gostoso" with Anita that was not a single. I'm like, if there was anything from the album that was going to really could have taken everything and just sort of elevated it, it would have been that one for me.
Right. Do you feel like it's because like Anita was only starting to really take off around the same time, at least outside of Brazil?
You know what? I actually think that she had such a specific, because it felt like everything about this project had her hands in it.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like other things, like not that they never do, but like Hard Candy, it didn't feel like she was leading the trend. It felt like she was catching up to the trend. And I think that's
Yeah.
why a lot of Hard Candy didn't really work so much for me, because I'm like, well, I don't know. Like 4 minutes is a great track, and I always love it, and I love the remixes and everything. But a lot of
Yeah.
the album just felt like, I don't know. This to me felt like it may not all be for me, and I don't know how much of this I'm really gonna love, but I don't know. There was just something that was so like she had a vision that I was like, all right, I'm going to follow you and I'm going to see this whole thing. We're going to start
Yeah.
with the trailers and the teasers. We're going to do the singles. We're going to do the videos. We're going to do the whole show. I'm going to do the whole experience with you, Madonna, and see how we go. And honestly, one of the best Madonna shows I think I've ever been to. I loved it so much.
I'm so
But
jealous. Yeah.
because it was just different. It was just so different. Like it was the complete opposite of anything that you'd expect from her. And I'm sure that her label didn't love this
Right.
and had
Right.
no idea what to do with it, because it's like, but I mean, you look at even Medellin, like people saying that it's one of her worst songs. The song has 73 million streams on Spotify alone.
Yeah. That's a lot.
That's a lot. Like, especially for somebody this far in her career. Like even the one with Anita only has 49 million streams.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like, and I don't know. I think she looked great in the videos. I thought that I don't know. I was just really, really here for it. And I know, again, not popular opinion by any means.
And I mean, what is she supposed to do, honestly? Because it's like, people in the comments a lot of times too will be like, oh, she's flopping or this, that, and the other. But it's like, she's in her 60s now. We all are fully aware that she is not going to get played on radio the way
Right.
that the young girls are. Um,
But I don't think she cares.
I don't think she cares either, but like, why are we constantly expecting her? She doesn't. I guess what I'm trying to say is she doesn't need to play on their playing field.
Right. Right.
She is on another level now, and she has
Right.
put in the time. And we can talk about how maybe her singles aren't performing well commercially in the sense of like going top 10 on Billboard Hot 100. But let's not pretend like just about every song that she ever releases goes number one on the club charts.
Right.
I mean,
I mean,
this woman.
it's right. It's the fact that what I always say is that the fact that we even talk about her relevance
Mhm.
is proof of relevance to me.
Yeah.
Because
I
if she
think
wasn't, we wouldn't care.
Yeah. I think that I've said this to you before, and I've attempted making this a social media post, and I deleted it. This is like in my early days of my meme page. Do you remember what I said?
I
This is
feel
like borderline controversial. So I'm gonna scale back and say that I had a conversation with my friend Adishola one time at a bar here in Grand Rapids, and we were going. And I'm also want to preface, this is like before Kanye West became the Kanye West that is today, right? This
Right.
is long before that. This is roughly around the time that he released Black Skinhead. What was that album? Yeezus? Is that the Yeezus album?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
And so we were having this conversation of who was more relevant and more impactful, Madonna or Kanye West. And so we were going back and forth, back and forth. And I said to him, I go, listen, go up to, I was like, what I want you to do is I want you to go up to people the next time you're like out and about and ask them what they think of when they hear the word Madonna and see what they say. And I go, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, they are going to say something in reference to the pop star. And he kind of looked at me kind of like, what? And I was like, Madonna is the Italian word for the representation of the Virgin Mary with child, right? I was like, before Madonna the pop star, that most people in Western cultures understood that representation. They didn't have to be Catholic to know that, right?
Right.
I was like, when Madonna the pop star got into the picture, she blew up. She became so big globally that she is now synonymous with that word, which is her birth name, by the way. Most people think that it's a stage name. That is her birth name. People think of the pop star over the Virgin Mary. I'm sure that there are areas of the world where that's an exception, right? Italy, probably,
Even in Italy.
But even in Italy, you are still going to think you because so I did this once at my job back in like 2017 I said I put up on a sheet of paper, I just said write down what you think of when you hear the word Madonna, and I got everything from like Vogue, cone bras,
Mhm.
just music symbols.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
got like all this iconography referring to Madonna, the pop star. I think that I had 52 people participate, 2 people reference the Virgin Mary.
Mm.
And one of those 2 people said both. They were like, this is, both things came into my head. And that person was also very Catholic.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I was said to him, I was like, to me, this would be like if a rapper today was named Jesus or Messiah and
Right.
became so big that that if you ask people what they thought of when they heard the word Messiah, they would reference the rapper
Right.
over the Son of God. I know people are probably like rolling their eyes right now, but I'm being serious. Like this is how big she became and still is.
But you still hear, even beyond that, you still hear the pop girls of today will still reference her and will still talk
Mm-hmm.
about like her performances and her different things because it's like while they may not have been around for any of that sort of any of the buzz or any of the hype or other the craziness of the high points of these people's career, it's like you realize that TikTok is a thing that exists, right? And like I
Right.
see tons of things on my newsfeed where it's like iconic performance 1990 Madonna at the Oscars, and it's like and these things are still coming across the algorithms and the news feeds. It's just a new way to share this stuff. So just because you may not see it, these young girls are still seeing it, and they're being influenced because they also recognize that their direct favorites, which may be the more Gaga, Beyonce, whatever, they mention and recognize them in their music, in their performances, in their interviews. So it's like the chain is always still going on, and it's this woman, no matter if she's 112 or whatever, like she'll always be relevant. Again, you don't have to like everything that she does.
Right.
Um, somebody else said birthday song is cringe. I kind of agree. It's not one of my favorites. I don't
I
love that
know.
one.
I know. I used to play it
Body
all the
Shop.
time on my birthday. I would always be like, "It's my birthday song."
Oh,
I
yeah. I
know.
don't. That one, Body Shop, is another one. Somebody said I agree with that.
There were several people who said auto tune baby, which I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that existed.
Right,
Because
and
they
there's a reason.
yeah. Yeah, because that was like on like the
Mm,
super deluxe version of Rebel Heart, right?
which, if I'm going to be honest, was too much.
Yeah.
It was a bit too much. By that point, I was like, all right, it's like 25 songs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
That's
lot.
it's a lot for
And
any album.
yeah, I know. And it's funny because like as a kid, I used to be like, I want all the songs. Like give me every single one. Why do they cut them?
Yeah,
But now as an adult, like it's like, don't get me wrong. I'm always interested to hear
sure.
the unreleased and the demos and things like that. But I'm also growing up is understanding why those songs were left on the cutting room
Right,
floor.
right. Somebody I saw that there was some demos and stuff that leaked from Kylie's Tension sessions,
Hmm.
like songs that didn't make it. And I was like, and I listened to them and I'm like, some of these are cute and some of them have cute ideas, but I get why they weren't on the album. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's totally fine.
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
so many people said B-Day song.
Yeah, lots of B-Day song. There was
Right.
also a lot of Spanish lesson, which I thought was
Not
interesting.
my yeah, I don't love that.
Okay.
That was a skip for me.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. I'm not running back to listen to Spanish lesson,
Right.
but I liked it at the time. And still like if it came on, like I would listen to it cuz I loved the work part in the
Right.
background, like work. And I think Peter Rauhofer even did a remix of it
Yes.
where yeah,
Yeah.
which
This comment I like because it's all of Rebel Heart, half of music, all of American life, 80% of Hard Candy, and 98% of MDNA. I'm
oh
like,
my
girl, that is so
god.
specific.
Jesus Christ.
I listen. Then somebody commented, and what's the 2% of MDNA that you like?
It's literally I want to
Look,
know.
MDNA gave us Girl Gone Wild.
Give us Girl Gone Wild. Wait,
Like
okay, so what songs do you like on MDNA? Girl
that
Gone
one.
Wild. That's the
I
only
like
one.
Gangbang is okay. In
Okay.
theory, I like it.
You don't
I
like
have
Love
to even.
Spent?
It's fine, but it's not there's nothing about that album specifically that ever made good. Girl Gone Wild is probably my favorite.
Uh-huh.
I Turn Up the Radio is fine, I guess. I didn't like Give Me All Your Lovin'. Oh, I
Yeah.
love, 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 love Masterpiece. Love.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Love
Absolutely
Masterpiece.
love. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't need any of the I Fucked Up is another one I don't like.
Yeah.
Don't like it. Burt B-Day song, don't like it. Beautiful Killer, Best Friend, don't like them. No,
Okay.
but
Don't like them.
Masterpiece, no, don't like them. Masterpiece I thought was fantastic.
I think the album kind of suffers from what a lot of music of that time suffered from, which it was so produced in the style. It was like the peak of the EDM
Yep.
craze.
Yep.
And unfortunately, like the following years when it really started to trail off. And so it became almost dated as it was getting
Right.
produced.
Right,
And
and that's what I
so
mean. Like, I think that was another album of hers where I felt like she was running after this trend a little bit, and it wasn't getting there. Like, Girl Gone Wild was the best that I think she was going to get out of that moment.
mhm,
And the video is one of her best videos, I think, of all time. And I will go on
it's so
record as
good.
saying it's so good. She looks phenomenal. The guys in the boots and the heels dancing, doing the whole. It's so good. I love
Yes.
everything about that.
And I think that you're right too, because I mean, also we have to remember that her kids were kind of growing up at that point. And I remember William Orbit being in an interview saying that like it was a very different process than when he worked on like Ray of Light and Music with her,
Right.
because her kids are, some of them are like entering adulthood at that point, and
Mm-hmm.
so they're, she's busy with them and busy raising the other kids, and I think she had all 6 kids at that point. And so, trying to juggle all of that while also making an album, like, yeah, it's
Right.
going to be a lot different. And so I'm sure that her headspace was in a different place at that point. But I mean, I liked MDNA. I loved I'm Addicted. um
Mm-hmm.
I love that. You're like,
I'm like, it's no, it's not bad. I mean, it's just again, it's just not a, it's
she
good. It's not
exists.
bad. Yeah,
She
yeah.
exists. It's a,
Many things can be true at the same time.
that's very true. That's very true. Um, but yeah, I mean, Superstar from that album on the standard version is like that was a delete for me for
Yeah,
sure.
and
But
even on Hard Candy, I thought that there were things that were great that she doesn't really get the credit for. I think Dance Tonight is one of her
oh
best
my
songs,
god,
and
it's so good.
it's so good, and it's just I think it's perfect the way that it is. And even though my distaste for Justin Timberlake in recent years has become a thing,
Hmm.
I love Devil Wouldn't Recognize You. I was a big fan of Voices.
Yes.
I don't like Incredible, but I loved Heartbeat.
Yeah.
Um, and that's a little sort of quirky one too, but
Yeah.
and then there's this
See my
other
booty
tracks on
get
there.
down like down
Yeah.
down up up.
By that point, I was getting a little like I was like, I don't know, Mdala. I don't know about this. I was like, what are we doing, girl? What is this?
Right. Well, and it's interesting too because like, Madonna really is the blueprint for the era of it
Right,
all. I mean, no other pop star really was doing the era thing where people always reference Taylor Swift now with the Eras tour. But Madonna was the one who really paved the way of like reinventing oneself for each album, changing up your sound,
oh yeah,
especially starting with Like a Prayer and then going from Like a Prayer to I'm Breathless to Erotica
hmm
to Bedtime Stories to the Evita soundtrack to then Ray of Light
right,
to then Music. Like when you listen to those albums, I mean, I see people in Stan Twitter and Stan social media all the time be like, the versatility when they're talking about their favorite artists. And I'm like, listen to Madonna.
right.
The versatility in her music is absolutely crazy. And she does it. She's able to seamlessly and effortlessly take on all these different styles.
Well, and it's
Maybe that's a
always. Well, I was gonna say, I feel like it's always too like. There's so many times, and I'm sure that age obviously has something to do with this too. But there's so many times that I see or I've seen people go back to things that she would get either panned for or criticized about, and then be like 10, 15 years later, oh, she was so ahead of her time. And I'm like, Y'all, you were just so late. Like, you had bad media analysis then, you have bad media analysis now, and we've all been waiting for you to catch up.
Right? Isn't
Yeah.
it crazy to see that? I feel like every few weeks or every few months, this goes viral on something where it's that newspaper or like magazine clip of her from the Girly Show, and it says like "Calm down,
Hmm.
Grandma." She was like what 35 at the time.
35.
It's
Right.
like,
It's just crazy because they say, and they do it with Cher too. Like, I've been, this woman has had more ups and downs in her career than anybody. And now it's like, you get to a point in society where it's like you've reached this sort of this age where now it's like all these iconic things they did, and they keep pulling like the same like 10 to 15 things throughout Cher's career, and I'm like, there's so much that you overlook, and there's so many where
yeah.
she was just so uncool. There's been times where Madonna has been so uncool, where Mariah has been so uncool, and it's like,
Hmm.
I don't I stopped fighting years ago with people because it's like, you'll be back. You say you won't,
Yeah,
but you will.
exactly.
They
You'll
always come
appreciate
back.
it again. They
Yeah,
always come back. They
they always
always
come
come
back.
back. I do have to call out, and I'm going to say this person's username because we
Say
should
it
shame
because I
them.
think I know what you're talking about.
Shame them a little bit. The Gospel of Quinley says, unpopular opinion, La Isla Bonita.
Oh wow, that wasn't even the one that I was talking about in the comments. But this deserves to be shamed too.
I was like, there's shame,
Sh-
shame in the
It
in the Game of Thrones of it all.
right.
Like what?
This just feels like my childhood. This song.
Yeah,
It just
and
really does.
also I think that again, all of this is subjective, right? We all have different tastes, but like the question that was presented to us was, what is Madonna's worst song? Not
Right.
the song that you dislike the most.
Right.
Because there's plenty, because we're going on and on right now about all the songs that we dislike. But like to sit there and say La Isla Bonita is one of Madonna's worst
Right.
songs. Shame. Shame on
Shame.
you.
And also the person who said, "Is it hanky panky?"
Not
Shame.
in my house, not in this house.
Shame. No.
Shame.
No. That has gone
Shame.
double platinum with my aux cord.
I
No.
literally, I'm not even kidding. My MacBook computer that's sitting behind this
Right.
one, triple platinum.
No.
Like,
Absolutely.
especially the bare bones single mix. Let's
Uh,
celebrate that.
let's celebrate that.
Let's celebrate that.
And even this guy, I don't know what complicated name. I got a complicated order.
I got a complicated order.
I never like Secret. Still don't. Okay. But is it her
Okay.
worst song? Is it her worst song? Like,
I don't know.
would you put Secret as her worst song above B-Day song?
Look at us
Spanish
right in
lesson.
the
You know what I mean?
eyes.
Right.
Yeah, look at us right in the eyes and say that Secret is worse than Autotune Baby.
Right. Like, come on now. Let's be serious.
Literally. Like, come on.
Right.
And like,
Right.
and I'm sorry, like Madonna pretty much invented like she
I don't know if I'd say that. I think that the Hindu people would probably have something to say about that.
well, clearly she was Hindu during Ray of Light.
Well, she is all things to all people, obviously. She's omnipotent. Right.
But I mean, we got the in Secret, we got the in Frozen,
Mm.
we got the in Isaac. There's another one that I'm forgetting right now. But like Secret is such her voice on that whole Bedtime Stories album is so rich
Oh
and so
yeah.
lush. We were talking about this with Z. I followed up with him via text to be like, I didn't ask you on the episode. I was like, what is your favorite song from Bedtime Stories? And I want to make sure I'm not misquoting him. We can't have a misquote. We are scientists. We don't do that here. Okay, let's see. He said, I want to say it was the title track, Bedtime Story, which I was shocked by. I was like, that's the favorite one? Okay. Oh my God.
My favorite will always remain Forbidden Love.
Forbidden Love is so good.
It's so good, and it's another exemplary, just a perfect example of why Babyface and Madonna work together.
Yeah.
It's just his background vocals, the whispers, the whole thing. It's just, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so good. Yeah, he said I really like the title track, also Secret, and then he also liked Sanctuary.
Oh, so good.
I was like, taste. Come on.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Taste. Yeah.
See, and somebody else said, wait, Arnaldo Carpio said, please, what about American Life? I'm going to say, maybe unpopular opinion, I loved that album. I didn't love it, I don't think, when it came out, and I think it took me a minute. I
Yeah.
also felt that way about music, but I really I ended up loving a lot of that. Love Profusion, I absolutely love. Mother and Father, I love. Nobody Knows Me, love. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there were so
Mm-hmm.
many remixes of these songs going around at the time, but I ended up
Yeah.
really, really liking American Life way more than I thought. And that original video that she did, the one that they ended up pulling,
One of her best.
and again, ahead of her time.
Way ahead of her time. Yeah.
Right.
So one of my followers, Tommy Boom, shout out Tommy, he also hates American Life. He was like, get
The
that
album or the
guitar,
song?
the album.
Uh,
He's like, when she goes for that guitar, I'm running. And
I,
I was like,
in general, I agree.
yeah. And I was like, I get it. But I was like, I don't know. And maybe it's because I kind of grew up with experimental Madonna. Like when I got into Madonna was like
Mm,
Ray of Light, right? So I was already getting into a Madonna that was outside of just strict dance pop.
hmm
So I was kind of like, I knew that she was going to shape and shift accordingly, right?
hmm
Just given whatever. But I really liked American Life. And I'm with you on the remixes because that album saw a completely different and new life through all of the remixes and in club culture. Like you were talking about a couple episodes ago, how we used to get these remix packages and it would be for all the different types of clubs and different
hmm
types of
hmm
vibes and things like that people were going for. That this album provided so much of that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had great remixes for American Life, great remixes for Die Another Day. We had great remixes
Hollywood.
for Hollywood and Nobody Knows Me and Mother and Father.
And Nothing Fails and Love
Mm-hmm.
Profusion. And I mean, there was some that I don't think were officially put out, but there was remixes done for Ecstatic Process and for Easy Ride and for
Mm-hmm.
Mother and Father. I think
Yep.
almost every song. I think maybe I'm So Stupid and Intervention might be the only two tracks that I don't know remixes
Sorry,
exist for.
flops, you didn't get
So
remixes.
Flop Tina.
Flop Tina. Someone said "I'm So Stupid" is one of her worst songs, and I go, I disagree.
It's one of my favorites.
I loved it. I loved.
Stupider than stupid.
I
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I loved it. What I loved is I don't remember what they did, but they froze her vocal. It wasn't just
Mm,
like it wasn't like how in a lot of remixes they will kind of like take a snippet of the vocal and kind of repeat it.
yeah.
They said that whatever technology they had is that they actually froze the vocal, which is why it goes
Right.
and
I mean, it just it does it have the least amount of streams? I'm like looking on the out. No, actually, the least amount of streams is Intervention. But
interesting.
yeah.
Oh,
No. Well, no, no, no. It's Easy Ride. That's a shame. I love that song.
I love Easy Ride.
Yeah, Tracy. I almost said Tracy Chapman. Tracy Young. Tracy Young did a great remix of that.
She did. Yeah.
Tracy Chapman,
Tracy Chapman, that famous remixer.
famous remixer,
Famous remixer
iconic.
remix. I remix and making those dance remixes for American Life. And I did see a couple comments saying Jimmy.
Look, it's a fun track. I don't know if it's one of her worst songs. It's definitely not one of her best, but I get it. It's silly. It's like a Dear Jessie sort of.
And I have to say, I fucking love Dear Jessie.
I love Dear Jessie, but I'm saying
I
it's that
love Dear
cartoony
Jessie.
type. She
Yeah.
gets in her cartoony bag.
Yeah. I especially love the end of Dear Jessie when the violins just really, or the
Oh
strings
yeah,
just like start going. Like,
it's
oh
so
my
fun.
God. It's so fun. What else? Someone
Someone
said
said
Die Another Day.
I don't.
Actually, well, they said Did Another Day. So sorry, don't know her.
I know.
But if you mean Die Another Day.
It's Elton John from his burner account. I still get that bitch.
Literally. I just saw someone post the like the illustration that was made back during the Reinvention Tour days. Remember when she won Best Live Show at the Brits, like
hmm
around like 2004?
hmm
Elton John was publicly was like, Best Live Show. I didn't know that you like, or that lip syncing you could get best live show or whatever.
Right.
Was like being all bitchy about it. And so someone made an illustration that had him doing like the back bend crawl thing that she does during that show, and her arms folded going, "Now sing."
Very that.
For those of you that are listening that don't know what I'm talking about, in Madonna's reinvention tour, she opens the show. Well, first of all, it's a video projection from a Stephen Klein photo shoot to her Beast Within, which is her reading from the Book of Revelations over the beat of Justify My Love, iconic.
Mm-hmm.
But then when she comes up on stage, it's her performing Vogue in this like, what century is that? I'm so bad with history.
It's like Baroque.
Yeah, like Baroque inspired costuming. And in the middle of the song, actually it's after the breakdown, after the rap part, they like do this crab walk like upside down. And I remember seeing, I was so lucky to see that live and blew my mind. Fucking mind. It's so crazy. And she's like, what, 40 something years old at the time?
Yeah, I could not do that now.
I'm like 39
I don't know that I could do that at any point.
Literally same. I think and at that time I tried doing it and I was like, how the hell?
Right.
Right. Crazy.
But somebody said Superstar is an absolute abomination. Not my favorite.
Not my favorite either.
Funana is so bad. I actually like that, but again, that's my whole. Oh, I just lost the light. That's all right. It's my whole penchant for loving Madam X. Turn Up the Radio is dire. Y'all are really harsh. Dire. These words.
Right. Oh my gosh. They really pulled out that dictionary for this.
Right.
Okay, this one felt personal. They listed off a bunch, but this one specifically felt personal to me. Because this is one of my favorite Madonna songs, and it's just so fun. Don't Stop from Bedtime Stories.
Oh, I love it.
I'm like, how do you hate her? She's so sweet.
Right.
She
what a random song to dislike.
Yeah, to sit there and say that's her worst song. Crazy.
Right.
Let's see. They also said Incredible. They also said Nobody's Perfect.
Oh, that took me a minute, but I ended up liking that.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. Even I felt the same way about like Paradise Not For Me. I was like, I don't know what we're doing here, but I'm kind of into it. Yeah, I was like, I know. We were all just like, look at us. I was like, we're learning a new language.
Let me tell you what.
Madonna, the Rosetta Stone of pop stars.
Literally, to this day, I still like to brag about the fact that I know every lyric to Shanti Astanji. Like, I'm like, yeah, I know an entire song in Sanskrit. I was like, what? And what now? I was like, and what? Say I won't sing it right now. Like,
you're like, sir, this is an Arby's.
Yeah, they're like, so are you gonna send your email or not?
Right.
And I'm like, you know.
I love how somebody said that this is utter blasphemy. Me saying that Hey You is her worst song is utter blasphemy. That's wild. Y'all are wild.
It's wild. Yeah.
Y'all are real wild.
So the thing is, like, I liked Hey You for what it was, but again, it's not my favorite song. And also, it was her first collaboration with Pharrell before the Hard Candy album came out, and so it's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, you don't collaborate with. I don't go to Pharrell for a ballad.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I know that this song was for Live Earth, which was that like huge concert, something kind of like Live Aid where they were trying to
save the planet and do all that.
Save the planet. Yeah, they were saving the planet. Yeah.
No, I love that.
But you know what we can celebrate for Live Earth? That incredible performance of La Isla Bonita mixed with Lele Palatuche. Oh my God. One of my favorite Madonna performances of all time.
So good.
With
so
Gogol
good.
Bordello.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a coworker who loves Gogol Bordello. Am I saying their name right?
I think so.
Gogol Bordello. I feel like I'm switching that up. Anyway, they love them, and they had brought them up one day, and I was like, oh, Gogol Bordello? And they were like, you know who they are? And I go, they performed with Madonna at Live Earth. So yes, I do.
6 degrees of Madonna in every aspect of your life.
Exactly. Well, it's funny because it's like people think that like, I don't know. People think that Madonna, again, is just this like silly pop star, like the
Right.
casual person. And I'm not saying my coworkers like this, but like they don't understand how much Madonna loves different cultures and is so inspired by all these different things. And it's like, so even the songs that I don't necessarily love, I still really appreciate the
Right.
fact that she, takes her time to learn these different cultures, learn the different styles, and experiment and explore. And I don't know.
It makes a better artist. I think that's what all of the best ones do. I mean,
Yeah.
that's nothing different than what you see Gaga or Beyonce or anybody that's at the top of their game doing this right now. You know,
Y-
it's.
Yeah.
I do have to say one thing because I cannot let this one go because this is absolute insanity to me, as this is one of my most favorite Madonna songs of all time. And I will say that I do believe she does not get anywhere near enough credit for her ballads. And I'm sorry, the fact that there is somebody here, and I am going to name you Dr. Anders, that song from the closing credits of A League of Their Own. Are you talking about This Used to Be My Playground? Are you trying to tell me that this used in the year of our Lord and Savior 2025 that you are going to come on Beyonce's internet and say that Madonna's worst song is This Used to Be My Playground? No,
That's
absolutely not.
crazy.
That is
That's
crazy
crazy.
talk. That's crazy talk.
They are just rage baiting us at this time.
Right. You have to be
Eh,
because I cannot.
They knew exactly what they were doing to get us to engage and to
Right.
make this episode and drag them for filth. Yeah, that's fucked up.
That's insane. It's arguably one of the best songs I think she's ever done. Definitely one of my favorite collaborations with Shep that she's ever done. The last one, actually, to be exact.
Yeah, it's so good. And it's funny, that like the whole thing about like gays and their English teachers
Hmm.
and just like and how they we love each other. Um my English teacher, Liz Dorado, from high school, we had to journal every day in our English class. And I had written about Madonna for something. I mean, when wasn't I writing about Madonna? And she always would respond to the journals, and she wrote that her favorite Madonna song was This Used to Be My Playground. And
See,
I never felt more close to my teacher. I never felt more loved. And yeah, I
yeah,
can't believe that someone would say that. That's wild.
it's wild. I love that song so much. I love that movie so much. But the melody is so good. It just really is.
Hmm.
Just it's like the best of. You could not have closed that on a better collaboration for
Yeah,
those two.
yeah, it's so
Phenomenal.
good. Did she perform that at all on the Celebration tour?
Mm-mm. Not that I'm
Not
aware
even
of.
for one date?
I don't.
Because I feel like I know that she performed Rain, and then she switched it up for Frozen for a few shows. I was one of the lucky recipients. I was so excited for Frozen. And then she performed Take a Bow a couple times.
I would have died.
I know.
I would
I
have
know.
died. I
I
love that song. I
know.
would have died. I have
I
been
know.
closing my DJ sets with Take a Bow for it's got to be like almost 15 years.
I
Something
love
crazy.
that.
Yeah, like it used to be at Shaka Khan's Ain't Nobody, but then it went to Madonna's Take a Bow. For a little while I had Mariah Carey's Get the Fuck Out.
I love
When I
that.
have every once in a while when I have a night, I'm like, all right, everybody, this one,
How
everybody out.
about you get the
Get the
fuck
fuck
out?
out.
I
When the
love
lights come
that.
on. Yeah.
Well, and then in the last episode, we were talking about vanity metrics.
Mm.
And something, again, fans want to sit here and bitch and moan about streaming numbers and number one singles and things like that. Don't get me wrong. I want my artists to succeed. I
Of
want them to
course.
have their success. I want them to have their number ones and everything. But something to think about is that Madonna's longest running number one single, 7 weeks at number one, is Take a Bow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really a song that people typically go to when they talk about her biggest hits, even though technically it's her biggest hit, right?
And if you look at the ballad compilation, something to remember, it's not even the most streamed ballad that she has.
What's the most streamed ballad?
Crazy for You.
Oh, I love
158 million. Right.
Wow.
Take a Bow, only 67 million, less than half of that.
That's crazy.
Right. So it just illustrates the point of like how things change in different eras and where the audiences may or may not be. Because if you're saying that that's Madonna's longest number one, but yet the streaming numbers would never reflect something like that, but yet you would have had to have done, played, listened to, purchased so many of Take a Bow back in the day to get to that point. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like these things don't always, they're hard to translate when you do with artists with of this big of a catalog.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
At the count of three, let's both say our favorite Madonna ballad. Okay.
oh boy, this is really difficult.
Okay. Let me know when you have it, and then we'll count to three.
Okay, I'm gonna have to say it, but yeah.
Okay. One,
hmm
2, 3. I'll
This used to be
remember.
my playground.
Okay.
Yeah,
I love
I
that.
do love I'll Remember.
I'll remember makes me emotional.
I'll
It
Remember
makes
has more streams than This Used to Be My Playground.
wild. Good. I mean,
Wild.
I love that. I
Right,
mean,
right.
I love when my faves succeed. but I would say, like, again, all of these songs not necessarily talked about, again, because Madonna's more known for her dance pop, her dance
Sure,
music,
sure.
right? And I think that she herself prefers her dance music now.
But like the version of I Want You on that album,
So
ugh,
good.
it's
That music
so ugh.
video.
She looks phenomenal. I love that.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many good ballads. I mean, really, this whole album is. I know it's a compilation, but it really is one of my favorites. And I love the addition of One More Chance, that little acoustic
Yeah.
number. I think somebody
Which,
else said in the comments that they didn't like that.
right. Yeah. I was
It's
like,
fine,
okay, just shit on David Foster, whatever.
right?
Whatever. I have to say something about I Want You, where it's more about, so that's a collaboration with Massive Attack.
hmm
I'm not super familiar with Massive Attack, but I was like just going kind of down a rabbit hole one day because one of their songs, their biggest song, what is it called? Teardrops?
Teardrop.
Teardrop, that was being used in one of the body balance classes that I take, and
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, what's this song? And so I looked it up, and I was like, just kind of going down a rabbit hole, and learned that that song was actually originally presented to Madonna to sing vocals on.
Hmm.
And I was like,
Oh, I could see that.
interesting. Yeah, because I want to say that was roughly Ray of Light era.
Right.
And I don't remember if it was either that she like just didn't have it in her schedule to do it, or if they had preferred the original demo vocals,
Mm.
because sometimes that happens.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, just like I love those types of like moments where it's
Oh
like in an
yeah.
alternate universe somewhere we would have, in an alternate universe we would have had Massive Attack featuring Madonna on Teardrop, and then we would have had Madonna as Catwoman in Batman Returns.
Can you imagine?
Crazy to think about.
Can you
I mean,
imagine?
I can't, and I'm so curious as to how that would have been, because I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer is iconic.
Right. As much as I love Madonna, I don't know that Michelle Pfeiffer. I don't know. That's hard to beat.
Yeah. I mean, you really can't beat Michelle Pfeiffer, but I would have loved to have seen what Madonna would have done with Catwoman.
Hell yeah! Just give me a couple of outfit shots. Are you kidding me? In that costume?
And that body, like,
Right,
come
right,
on,
right.
like that is something to think about. Just
No, for sure.
something to marinate on. But yeah, interesting. I mean, who should be next on our, like, who has worst song list?
Do we just put one in here now in this moment, and then this is the clip that we put on social and we ask people, or do we just name an artist? I mean, this could go any which way. I mean,
We can do whatever the fuck we want. This is America.
all right. So I mean, if we
where
were gonna,
all of our rights are getting taken away.
right. Right. Well, so while we still have the right to talk about these people, I mean, I don't even know. It's really hard because I don't. How often do I think about somebody's worst song or what I think their worst song
Right.
is?
I mean, I hate to do it because the conversation is all there. We're
It
constantly
becomes
comparing
negative,
them.
right?
It becomes negative, and we're constantly comparing these two already. But like, do we say Lady Gaga since she's released a new album?
I mean, Lady
Or
Gaga.
are
What?
who's the most rabid fan base? Do we ask the Swifties what Taylor Swift's worst song is?
I mean, that's one way of doing it. I don't know that I'm actually well equipped enough to talk about that, to be honest. Because
same. I know plenty of pop Taylor.
Right.
I don't know Country Taylor. I don't care to know her.
But not even that. I just don't know that I've listened to all of it. I've heard every bit of it, but I don't know that enough of it has retained for me to be like,
Mm,
oh, this one was worse for me than this, and this one was not this, and this, like it's
yeah.
only in the moment that I feel like, and maybe it's because I sort of had to have a crash course in her discography really quickly when I did listen to it, that I was like, all right, I was like, let me just sort of get through this. That I was only picking out the things that really stood out to me.
Yeah.
That I was just like, oh, these are things that I would recommend to people. Um,
Right.
but I mean, I see, because now I'm thinking like, okay, so if we even said, what is Mariah Carey's worst song? How, where would I even
Where do you even start with that? This is the thing. It's
like? I don't know. Like Madonna's done things that have been cringy and like experimental, but that's just sort of like the artist that she is. Mariah's like this vocal Bible that I'm like, what song have you put out that I've been like,
I mean, I don't know if I can say it's her worst. The first thing that came to mind was that song that she did with Busta Rhymes, and it was a huge hit. It was a huge hit for
what?
her because yeah, I said
Really?
that.
Baby, if you give
Yeah.
it to me, you never did it. Oh my God.
I think
Okay.
it's just because I don't like that vocal.
Controversial yet brave.
I know, I
Wow.
know, I know. I just, yeah. I'm gonna say I stand by it. I'm not saying it's her worst. It's not my personal favorite
Got it.
by any
Got it.
stretch.
I, if I had to pick the first two that come to mind are sort of kind of in the same-ish era, and then not that long ago, is from 2017, that track I Don't with YG.
Yeah.
It was fine. It wasn't bad. I like some of her vocal bits, but I didn't love the track. And then the other one that I never really got into, no matter how many ways you remix it, Triumphant, was fine. It,
Okay.
it was
Yeah.
okay. It was fine.
You know who's gonna be up in arms about that? John Duff. He
He loves
loves
Triumphant.
Triumphant. I
It's not
believe
a
so.
bad
Yeah.
song, but I'm saying if the task is what do you think her worst song is, like that's
What is her worst song?
like it's hard
This
for
is
me to say
hard.
worst because there's not really like there's nothing that she does that I think is objectively bad. It's just sort of like
Hmm.
that's not really for me. I mean, if I say her song from the movie Tennessee, Right to Dream. Does anybody even know that song but me?
Right. I was
Right.
gonna say, like, I barely even know that song.
Right. That's what I mean. Like I'm not like
You know what she would say? She would say her worst song is probably Almost Home from
and
that.
I know that she would say that and I don't agree with it, which is why I didn't bring it up. I
I
love that
liked it
song.
too.
I
I
love that
liked it
song.
too.
But you could tell it's not a Mariah Carey song.
Right. Yeah.
Clearly.
They probably gave her the track. She like helped write extra verses for it, and
Right.
then yeah,
Right.
sealed the deal.
But that's what I mean. Like, there's not really anything because even if we were to point towards like Glitter, I love that soundtrack so much.
Oh,
I could do
so
an entire episode about that. Like,
Jeff and I, before one of the Pop Theory episodes, just to warm up, he was like, let's each do our top 5 Mariah Carey albums. And so we were going through it, and we were like, and I had put Glitter on my top 5, and he was like floored. He like could not believe it. He was like, really? Not that he hates the album, but he
right.
was just like, you're going to put that over? Because I think that I think I might have put it over Emancipation of Mimi. Yeah.
And
But
don't get me wrong, but I would almost agree with you as far as albums that I revisit.
I love and I have always loved the Glitter soundtrack.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier in this episode about, periods when artists weren't really cool. Mariah Carey from like 2000 was that 2001?
2001.
2001 when she released Glitter up until she released We Belong Together, Mariah Carey was not very cool.
Not at all.
It was not cool to like Mariah Carey.
No, I mean it was about a good 4 because it was really what was it was Don't Forget About Us, was that first?
No,
No.
so in between the Glitter era and Emancipation of Mimi, she had Charm Bracelet.
Right, which I loved. But that wasn't the
And
last single from that Bringing on the Heartbreak, and then we went to
that was, and then so we went to Emancipation of Mimi's, which the lead single was Shake, or not Shake It Off. It was It's Like
It's
That,
Like That.
which was like a moderately successful single. I think it was
Oh
like
yeah,
top
for sure,
15.
for sure.
Yeah. But then she released We Belong Together, which obviously became the enormous hit that we know, and then
Right.
exploded her back into, relevancy and whatnot. But yeah,
But that was
this
a rough time for her, and it was,
it
and you know
it
what? And
was.
I was there in the trenches defending her.
Mm-hmm.
Don't matter, but I guess what I mean. Like, it's very, very difficult to look through her catalog and be like, this is your worst song, Mariah Carey.
Right. Yeah. I mean, topical, since someone has an anniversary coming up. Actually, it'll be coming up right after this episode is released. Um, I
I,
mean,
I am
what
grateful for your being always,
we
Mariah Carey. Thank
we
you.
love you, Mariah. I mean, I would say your favorite Mariah Carey song is the Heartbreaker Junior's
The Junior's Hard remix is
Hard Mix.
definitely, yeah. I think it's. I mean, as far as remix goes, yeah, I definitely one of, I think, her best vocals. I know we've obviously talked about this. I mean, I could do a whole episode just on her remixes.
Yeah.
Um, but it's tough. Like, she's one that I have a hard time pinning down like favorite tracks because they
Yeah.
vary so much. Like, and a lot of them are like the more deeper cuts. Like, Now That I Know on Music Box is
Oh
such
my
like a.
god.
It's like the unsung dance smash of her catalog that no one ever talks about.
It really hurts my feelings that it was never released as a single.
Terrible, absolutely terrible. So for real, like it's absolutely terrible. But then I like the really like super Mariah ballads of like After Tonight on the Rainbow album, like the really
Yeah.
ridiculous, dramatic, and I love that. And her version of Against All Odds is phenomenal, and it's
Okay, wait. I don't think this is one of her worst songs. And in fact, it's one of my favorites. But you might feel differently. What are your thoughts on Did I Do That from
I love
Rainbow?
it. No, I love it.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good.
no, it's phenomenal.
Jeff doesn't like it that
I
much.
think no, the skip for me on Rainbow was How Much with Usher was fine. Bliss, I didn't. It's fine, but that
Hmm.
was really it. I love the rest of that album. I was such a Rainbow
Yeah.
fan.
I know, me
That
too.
whole
It's such a
era.
yeah, I feel like in today's music climate, maybe it just needs a little bit more time to marinate, but I feel like people don't revisit it as much as an album
Yeah.
in the way that they do others. But it was such a stamp in time, and definitely like her trying to capitalize on that like Y2K trend of
Oh
music.
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Ex-Girlfriend,
So
hello.
good. It's so good. I love that song.
I
It's so ridiculous,
know.
but I love it.
Oh my god, it's so good. And I'm just now I'm going through all of my like one of my favorite Mariah Carey songs. I mean, Close My Eyes from
Ugh.
Butterfly, The Roof. I mean,
Whenever You Call with Brian McKnight, I love that
ooh,
so much.
yeah,
Sweetheart, we don't talk about that one enough. Sweetheart is
yeah.
such a good song.
Her, and which I only recently in recent years learned that was a cover.
Sweetheart?
Sweetheart is a
Mhm.
cover. Yeah, yeah. Which was like a freestyle song, right,
Yeah.
from the 80s.
I can't think
She
of.
seems I think Mariah Carey loves herself some freestyle music.
Oh, well, she did back up for Brenda K. Starr.
Oh, is she a freestyle singer?
Yeah, 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 I mean pop,
Oh,
yeah, but mostly freestyle. But
okay. I didn't know that. I mean,
yeah,
I knew that she
nice.
was I didn't know much about Brenda K. Starr. I just knew that she was her backup singer.
Wait, is Sweetheart? Am I thinking of the same? Is Sweetheart a cover? Wait,
Sweetheart's a cover. Yeah.
I am like, wait a minute. Rainy Day.
We can share a
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
storybook romance. I love that music video.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Oh, Rainy
and
Davis. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
No, so there's a Mariah. Did she put it out? I don't know if she did. Wait, Mariah Carey, Weakness. No, she didn't. So there was a demo that leaked years ago of her when she was doing backup for Brenda K. Starr. Brenda had a song called "Weakness of the Body," and then I think Mariah did like a cover version of it for a demo. I don't know if she demoed it for Brenda or if she just demoed it on her own, whatever. But there's like a
Uh-huh.
full on like freestyle track. Even was it Prisoner? Prisoner to Me on the first
Yeah.
album. That's a freestyle song.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's 100% a freestyle song, and I would have died for more freestyle Mariah.
Oh my
Oh my god,
gosh.
I
I
would have
know.
died
I mean, I've been saying for years I think Mariah Carey should put out a dance album.
for sure, for
I
sure.
feel I feel like she's at this point in her, obviously, Christmas is bringing her coin until, May, you know, until the rest of her life, which hopefully is not for a very long time.
Right, right.
Um, but I mean, anything that's not Christmas related, I feel like she really could capitalize on the fact that she has a slew of gay fans and she's known for her remixes. I think a dance, like a house album from her would be so sick.
House album, give me a disco, like just any of it. Like it would just be so good, and I feel like it would fit her
Yeah.
voice, especially where she is right now, so well.
Yeah.
And it's
It would
like
be so good. I mean, have David Morales produce it.
that, or even like, girl, even if you want to make it more like, because I feel like what she does, like, is she'll bring in these like classic songs, like you have Heartbreaker and if you should ever be lonely, and she did
Yeah.
what is it, Heartbreak, was it Heartbreaker with Love Hangover?
Yeah, she did that for the Divas Live
Right,
performance.
right. Like there's always ways to make that like a whole album of things like that, where she's doing
Yeah.
two at one. I would die. I would die. Mariah, if you're listening, friend of the pod, please,
Yeah, Mariah Carey, friend of the pod. If you'd
please,
like to come on if you
and talk about your
I mean,
remixes.
could you I'm not even kidding. Could you imagine if
Yeah.
she was like, "Yeah, let's talk about my remixes." Like, we're not talking about Christmas.
No,
We're
we're
not
gonna
talking about
no.
any of if we're talking about number one singles on the dance charts.
Right.
Like, oh my god, that'd be so much fun.
And
Mariah
that's,
Carey,
I feel,
please do
but
it.
right, these are the interviews that I want to see. At this point in the
Yeah,
career, these are the interviews that I want to see. Share. I want to hear about the remixes to Believe. I want to hear about the remixes from Living Proof. I want to know, like, were you involved? What are you doing? Like Mariah, I know you're involved. You're re-recording the vocals,
right.
but it's like, Mariah, you had an entire dance remix album for Memoirs that never came out.
Literally.
Let's
Oh my
talk about that
god.
and what happened.
What happened? Yeah, because she was calling it Angel's Advocate, right?
Right,
And
right.
it was going to be one disc was like the R&B hip hop remixes
Hmm.
with a bunch of features, and then disc 2 was all remixes by the, and this is a moment in time, the Jump Smokers, not the
Which,
Chain Smokers, the Jump Smokers.
which, look, for what it was at the time, it was very cool. Now
Very cool. You know what? Some of the remixes still hold up.
they
I like
do.
them.
They do. Some of
Yeah,
them.
they
Yeah.
they did. So that project leaked, and you know what? So, side note, I did one of those like ask me anything anonymously
Hmm.
question things last night, and someone asked me. I didn't answer it on Instagram, but someone asked me like, "What are your thoughts?" Like how did they word it? They said, I'm just gonna read it because I want to get it right. They said, "Can you speak on the ethics of downloading unreleased music? You mentioned a lot of demos and unreleased stuff, and it feels like an invasion of privacy. But lots of stans pride themselves on having those MP3s, so I must be in the minority." And so, to you, fine person,
Oh
I
boy.
want to say that one, I'm not the person who's leaking the music.
Right.
So I want to start there. But two, the majority of the unreleased stuff that I've heard and or listened to now is on YouTube, uploaded by some random stranger that the artist in question nor their record label are doing anything about taking down.
Right. And
And
believe me, they're
so
aware.
they are
Believe me when I
aware.
tell you they are aware. All of these artists, all of their teams, they are very aware of the things that are on the internet.
Yeah. They have every, and this is why I think I've said this before on the podcast. Like, I don't understand why, like, we live in this capitalist society. You know that these songs are on YouTube. Just release them and
Right.
put them officially on streaming, and then you will get your coin. I, put together a rarities album. I don't know.
Right.
Like,
Right.
anyway. Um,
But there's
I
so
lost my
many
train
like
of
weird
thought.
things. No, there's so many weird things that happens when it comes to this stuff. So I don't even know if I should say her name. I guess it doesn't really matter because who's going to care about this? But years, and I mean years, like 20 years ago, when I went to KTU, our local radio station had a show. What was it called? KTU, not KTU Palooza. I can't even remember what it was called. It was like some ridiculous festival. Anyway, and they would have all these like freestyle artists perform, people from the 80s, current artists, whatever. And Deborah Cox was going to be there, and I was going there with
Oh,
my friend
fun.
Joseph, and he had just done like a portrait of her, and like he was going to backstage to bring it to her, and was like, you come with me, we'll go backstage, we'll meet her, and I was going to meet her and Lisa, and I was like so excited.
Love.
So this is like early 2000s, And just as the internet was really becoming a thing, a song by Deborah Cox called Stupid Like You had leaked out onto the internet. And I loved the remixes that I had heard from it. And I was like, where did this song come from? Because it was like listed as like Fanatic featuring Deborah Cox. And I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know who, whatever. So when I saw her, I brought it up and I was just like, hey, I was like, just out of curiosity, I said, found this track, whatever, whatever. And she was like, I know, I just heard that it leaked on the internet. And I was like, oh, I said, is it a leak? I said, is it not real? And she's like, no, it was real. She said, it was part of some producer in Germany or whatever, some new producer that she was working. It was part of a larger project. And she wasn't
Uh-huh.
even like a featured voice. She was like part of like a larger group of voices on this. And the producer ended up like running out of money and the project wasn't going anywhere. And he took all the other voices that except hers and like put it out on the internet. And that's how it leaked. And she was like, it was never really meant for it to be a thing, but we're going to try to see if we could pick it up now that it's building up steam and maybe do some remixes, whatever. So it's like, that was my first time hearing something like that from the artist and realizing, okay, so this is how things like this happen. Like sometimes projects just run out of steam and they run out of money. Sometimes it's not, like you just can't always get the project over the finish line. And sometimes it's just not meant to be. And sometimes the artist doesn't
Wow.
even own the thing.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like you don't really know, like when you hear these unreleased songs and demos and stuff, it's like, oh, Madonna may not own this or this person may not own this. You have no idea.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
started realizing that.
First of all, love that you brought up Stupid Like You by Fanatic featuring Deborah Cox. First of all, let's celebrate that.
So good.
Um, Second of all, had no idea that that was the story behind that song because I remember seeing that track and having that. And I think all the remixes that exist, I don't know if any of them were officially commissioned.
I
I
think they
feel like they were
commissioned them, but
all
they didn't put them out because I think that they were saying at the time that they were going, I don't know if it was Eddie Baez and Jason Nevins, maybe. I don't remember who did the
okay.
remixes, but I think they were
I don't
commissioning
either.
some. And yeah, I don't remember. I'd have to really dig.
Yeah, but it's been a minute since I've even like heard anyone mention that song. But I just remember, I think it was maybe the bridge of the song that I loved, where she's like, "Made your bed, so lie down." Like it was
Mm-hmm.
just like, and it was such a song that was just like, if I ever felt angry, I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, I'm not stupid like you."
Right.
Like,
Because like they got Junior to do remixes. I think one of the remixes that he did, I think, was on one of his compilation albums. I think a White Party album that he did, it was released
oh,
on.
cool,
Yeah,
yeah,
so that one's out there somewhere. I don't know if it's on streaming though, but I don't know if any of these are on streaming. Maybe they're not. Um, but yeah, so it's like there's so many different ways and things that happen, and if the artist really wanted them taken down, they have it within their power to do so. So if the
right,
team is not really paying attention to it and the algorithms haven't been programmed to catch it at this point, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. Like, am I for somebody actively trying to hack into someone's server to get unreleased stuff? Absolutely not.
right, same, yeah.
Right. But
Absolutely not. But like if it's already out there, like yeah, I'm gonna listen to it. Like
yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna
curious.
listen to it.
I'm a curious little cat, and
Right.
I need to listen to every little nook and cranny
Oh
that
yeah.
gets out
Because
there.
and some of it's good and some of it's not good. And that's
Right,
fine. Right.
exactly. And I completely understand too. I mean, I remember when Rebel Heart leaked and Madonna was really upset about that. I remember, Ariana Grande being upset when some of her demos leaked for the music that she had written for a show or something like that.
I'm sorry, but the most iconic thing ever was when Madonna, when they were trying to get the tracks for American Life to leak, and she just made all the tracks like a specific like time length, and it was just the audio. Every time you clicked on it, was her going, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?"
Yes.
That I was like, that is so iconic to be able to flood tracks like that of your own to the internet.
Yeah.
You better
Oh
work.
my god, yes, literally. Because that was back when, LimeWire and
Right.
Napster were at their peak. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what a time.
Right.
File sharing services, just risking your family computer to get one song,
Risking
to
everything.
risking everything, because God knows how many viruses you got on that between that and
Oof.
porn.
Right. 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 Dear Lord.
And then also like with dial up, like having it would probably take like 30 minutes
Oh
for one
God.
song to download.
I remember doing that for Oops, I Did It Again.
I think same. I think I was
Yeah.
trying to find it was the VMA performance of Whoops I Did It Again
Work.
because I think I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't need new music from Britney Spears, but what I would love is the studio versions of the remixes that she did for her award show performances from those days. I think that would be so cool. That would be such a slay.
I would be so in for that.
I know.
So if you're
Like,
listening, Brittany, I know you're listening.
Brittany is absolutely listening to this
Friend of the
podcast.
pod, Britney Spears.
She's like, those homophonic boys.
Right.
They know what's up. And by demand, I'm gonna release that Oops, I Did It Again Wade Robson remix.
Right.
I wonder if they're on good terms at all.
Oh, I have no idea.
I would assume that they probably don't speak.
Right.
But
well, this is the anniversary for Oops, I Did It Again this year. Isn't this 25 years? Yeah.
Oh my God, it is.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it is. That's crazy.
Yeah. So expect that's
Wow.
going to be a thing.
Yep. Oh
Wild.
my God. Well, I am very curious why, and I mean, maybe you touched on it earlier, like, curious why she's not on the reissue trend, it seems. Like,
I don't know. I would think that there would have to be a buy-in at some point from her because
yeah.
it's how many times can you continue to put money behind something that the artist isn't promoting?
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure that if you because they keep doing this like every once in a while where it's like, oh, and now Femme Fatale's out on yellow wax and Blackout's on red wax and this, and I'm like, but it's the same album, you just pressed it in a different color. Like that's a cash grab. I don't love that.
Right.
And there's definitely has to be things from the studio that never got out. Like they were recording so much music then. Like it just seems, I don't know, it seems highly unlikely. I just don't get it.
Yeah, and if anything, like, you can take the B-sides. I mean, the Oops, I Did It Again remixes aren't on streaming. So, like,
Right.
you can put those on streaming, like Rodney Jerkins did a remix of Oops.
Yep. All those Rip Rock and Alex G ones. I love those.
Let me tell you, back in 1999, 2000, nothing got me more titillated than seeing Rip Rock and Alex G on a remix. I never felt more futuristic.
Right.
Oh,
these guys were going to take us into the future.
I mean, they did with NSYNC Space Cowboy.
They sure did.
I don't know.
Let's celebrate that
song. Let's celebrate
that.
I have to say, like, I was absolutely gutted that Space Cowboy was never a single.
Right.
Because that was a song. The way that this episode is going right now is not at all how we had planned, by the way. I said, you know what, John Michael? I was like, let's do an episode where we're talking about, Aretha Franklin, Diana Ross, Lady Gaga, Mariah Carey, and Celine Dion, because I was like, their birthdays are all next week. But so when this episode comes out, everyone's gonna be celebrating their birthdays. We touched on Mariah,
right? And that's about it.
And that's about it. Anyway, NSYNC, the way that No Strings Attached album rollout was going, I thought that was going to be like 6 singles deep.
Oh yeah, I thought for sure we were getting a video for Digital Get Down.
I thought we were getting a video for Digital Get Down, Space Cowboy, It Makes Me Ill.
Yes.
And they stopped at This I Promise You. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. Listening to No Strings Attached and stop it. And then there was the European single, I'll Never Stop, which was like not even on the US version of the album.
Right, but I felt like they also failed Celebrity as well. There were so many good songs on that album, and they really, how many? 2, 3?
3.
What was it? 3 singles?
I think it was Pop, Gone, and then Girlfriend.
Yeah.
But I guess music was changing back then. It was definitely starting to become more hip hop focused.
Well, that, and I think that they were really trying to like throw these kids out on tour at that point, and we're just like, send them on the road, make all the money. I mean, they were everywhere. So
yeah. It is. I'm so curious too, because like the song Pop, probably one of my favorite songs of all time. It would. I think it would make my 100 list. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. No, I love it.
I mean, I love it because the song is great, but I also just love the idea of it's this boy band, this like cheesy, quote unquote, sugary, bubbly boy band working with BT.
I know, people. The most random.
The most random, and BT, and then Wade Robson was also a producer on it. The song is sickening and truly, I would say ahead of its time, but I don't really know if there's anything really like it per se. It definitely has its Michael Jackson influences,
For sure.
but
But it's like
I
somewhere
mean,
between like Michael Jackson and like the Fatboy Slim, the Crystal Method. Like it's just all that sort of. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a really cool song, but it didn't chart very well.
Yeah.
And so that's probably where the record label was like, let's figure this out,
Right.
because the song didn't chart. I mean, the album still sold over 1 million copies in its first week. So
I feel like I
um
remember Gone being a bigger.
it was a bigger hit. I
Yeah.
think it peaked at number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100,
Yeah.
and then Girlfriend, the remix with Nelly,
Mhm.
peaked at like number 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
I dare you to check me on that.
Yeah. Look, my brain does not work that way. So you win that one.
Yeah, but to your point, I mean, I think the song "Celebrity" should have been a single.
Oh yeah.
I loved.
I love Just Don't Tell Me That.
Just Don't Tell Me That. I loved. What was the
other?
one?
There's another
The
Max
Game
Martin.
Is Over.
Yes. Yes.
the
That
game.
little
I
rewind
loved the
bit in the
game.
beginning.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's the one. Oh my God, what's the one? I know what you're talking about. I said,
Tell me, baby.
Tell me, baby.
That's
Yeah.
the one.
I
I
said,
love that.
Why?
Yeah.
Tell me. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
It's the most Swedish.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the most Swedish.
It's the most Swedish.
There were some bonus tracks for that album too, like European bonus tracks that were really good. Don't remember the names off the top of my head. I remember No Strings Attached. There's a bonus track called Could It Be You? I think it was the B-side to Bye Bye Bye. That was really fun, and I love listening to that song.
Well, I will say, since we're in boy band era, now that this is going to be 25 years of Backstreet Boys Millennium, which is my favorite Backstreet Boys album, for the first time ever, they are doing it the right way, and I hope everybody else pays attention. All of the CDs that I had to import and find from different stores, from Japan, from this place, to get all of the bonus tracks and all of the different remixes, they are putting out a 25th anniversary edition of it with all of them in it.
No
Everything.
way.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes. I don't think it's out yet, but it's Millennia. Let's see.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I'm like, thank God. Wait, Backstreet. Sorry, everybody. If you're not paying attention, I'm looking on Spotify.
I love this.
No, not yet, but it's coming out.
My friend Tara, right before we started recording, texted me saying that she got tickets to see them in Vegas. So
I'm dying to go. I don't know if I'm going to go yet. I haven't. I don't know. It's expensive, but I love this album so much. They did release one single, which was an additional song, I think, from the album at the time that they recorded, that they never put out.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
like a little
song called Hey.
Hey, how y'all doing? Oh my gosh!
But it was
I'm looking this up.
There was like a whole bunch of like tracks that were just like on the import singles that I loved, and I've had them ripped in my Dropbox forever that I would listen to them. But this is the first time they're actually doing the thing and putting them all out. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it now. Yeah. Fun. I love this. I see.
Yeah.
Oh, and I wanted that way with alternate lyrics. Okay, wait a minute. Did I speak about this on the show?
I don't know. Did you?
Oh, I might have. Okay, so I Want It That Way. I was talking about this with someone. The version on the album, I believe, was technically the writer's demo of the song that got leaked onto the internet, and they played it on the radio stations, and it just went like wildfire. So they just went with it. I believe I Want It That Way with alternate lyrics that's going to be making it on here is actually the rewritten version, because when you listen to the version that we know, the lyrics don't really make sense.
Right.
They don't really make a ton of sense.
Right.
I believe that they had done that for the writer's demo to really kind of piece together what the song's going to be. The song that's going to be coming out was supposed to be the intended version.
Oh.
So I was right. Oh my God. That's so cool. Oh my God. Fun.
Yeah.
Love that.
So I'm excited for this, and I feel like this is going to be a great 25th anniversary.
Yeah. What is your favorite song from the album?
Oof. My first instinct is to say "Don't Want to Lose You Now."
That's
I
such a good one.
love, I love that song. I love that one. I love the one. Um,
That's my favorite.
I love that song. Pablo Flores remixes were excellent as well.
Yep.
"Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely," I think is a phenomenal song, and also had really good remixes by Soul Solution.
Hmm.
Um,
There was also a really fun remix by Jason Nevins. I believe it was like
yeah,
a crossover remix. It was like a little bit more R&B, urban,
yeah,
hip hopish style that they used to play on their radio station in my hometown all the time, but it was never released on a CD. So I remember
work.
like being like trying to like be by my radio and with my little tape cassette player trying to hit record when it would come on.
But there's one of the bonus tracks that they're putting out is now we've talked about him before, and I will always go to bat for him. I love an AJ McLean vocal. So
Mm.
there's a song that was out on I think on the Japanese version called "If You Knew What I Knew," where AJ's vocals are featured, and it's so good, and it's one of my favorites, and that's the one that I would always keep in my Dropbox to listen to. I'm very
I
excited
can't
that that's
wait.
"I'll Be There for You" is also really good. That's going to be released too. So it's like four bonus. I'll Be There for You. My Heart Stays with You. If You Knew What I Knew, and You Wrote the Book on Love, which I think is a Howie vocal that I love as well. Um, but
Love.
yeah. So,
I
but
love the Backstreet Boys.
right, and I have to say, because I know that we're running over time, but I have to say, when it comes to the boy bands of like the '90s, early 2000s, it was
Hmm.
so fun to be a fan of this music at this moment because
Yeah.
there was so many different versions. There was like hidden tracks here. Go and get this edition. This one was this, and it was like you were always on this constant scavenger hunt, trying to find these things and just be resourceful and find as much as you possibly could. And
Yeah.
now it's like it's just vinyl variants, and it's just like it's just expensive, and it's like not that much is different. And I'm like, I don't want different artwork. I want different songs. Give me more music, And
Right.
this
And
it
if we don't care about the uh first press demo vocal recording from your
no,
phone live from
no,
Paris in the
no.
studio closet. Like
No. No. No, but give me, like I said, give me all the bonus tracks that were out around the world. Give me all, like, you want to give me some live performances? That's cool too. But like, it just, yeah, like you
yeah.
said, give me the studio performances of the stuff. Like, they were famous for this stuff where they'd put out one version and the video version would come out, and then that would be the hit. And so then it's like, give me
When
all that.
I remember when they premiered the Larger in Life video on
Uh,
TRL and
iconic.
that like extended dance break that they did
Yes.
and like the music video was like super high budget. I think it was like 2 million at the time or something like that, which was huge in that era.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh,
So good.
so good. Ugh. Well, I mean, we covered a lot of tracks that we don't talk about enough, but we've
True.
come to the famous part of the show where we talk about a song we don't talk about enough.
Well,
DJ John Michael.
do you have one or no?
I do.
Okay, you go first then because I have to. I had one that I was going to pick because I knew we were talking about Madonna and it was going to be a Madonna song, but we kind of already talked about it a lot. So I don't want to bring it back up.
Okay.
So, because I was going to talk about Miles Away
Okay.
because I love that song so much. And there was also, for as many remixes that they did do, Junior did remixes of it that never were put out and they were so phenomenal. That's why I really love that song. But anyway, but you go.
Love.
Pick yours.
Okay. I am going to go. So this is super random, super like no one's going to know what this is, but I love it because so a couple months ago and to shock to no one, I went down this like electronica rabbit hole where specifically I was looking at like past remixes by BT
Hmm.
and Sasha. And I think it's because I think Eusexua did that to me. I think that Eusexua was very much inspired by like 90s electronica. And so I was kind of going down all these deep dives, but I was like searching out tracks and remixes that I never really explored before in my youth. And one that I had found that was on YouTube was a song called Freedom by Shiva.
I don't know.
I had never heard of Shiva. I had never heard of this song, but BT did a remix called BT Subconscious Freedom Interlude. Also, bring back really wild remix titles.
Right.
Bring them back. I loved like when you go back and look at BT's remixes, they have all these weird titles to them and
Right.
it's so fun. But what I found really interesting is that so when I had like was looking through all of these songs, and discovered this remix, which is, again, it's a 12-minute remix. Let's celebrate that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a blend of house music and electronica. That's what I find really cool about it. Like, it starts as kind of like a piano house vibe, but then
Yeah.
it kind of morphs into this like more techno electronica moment. But what was interesting is it was like one of those songs that was like only on YouTube for a while because, again, pre-streaming release. Well, thanks to Pop Activism. Do you follow them? Pop Music Activism?
I do, but they never come up in my feed. But yes,
Okay.
I do follow them.
They posted that this was finally put on streaming. And I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
there is a God. Like, oh my God. So I literally just added this to my phone on Sunday. I was grocery shopping when I saw that it was posted. So anyway, people are gonna be like, okay, cool, Zach. No one cares.
No. So you know what? I will sort of meet you halfway with a song that nobody's going to care about except for us, maybe.
Okay.
So in 1995, I want to say, Billy Ray Martin had a very big dance hit with "Your Loving Arms," which I think most
Okay.
people know. You maybe don't know it by name, but you definitely know the song. It was a very, very big, probably her biggest hit of her career, but she had an album that came out that the song that this album is from is called Deadline for My Memories. If you specifically have not listened to this, there's a few tracks on here that I think you would really like that I think will tie into your sort of 90s rabbit hole, remix rabbit hole. But
Love.
there is a song on this album called True Moments of My World that I think is, as far as like her dance songs from the 90s, the epitome of what I love about her for dance music. It is.
Ooh.
They call her the first lady of electronic soul because her voice is just so like, she's known for the dance stuff, but it's unbelievable what her voice can do. And this album really showcases. It was a really big, I think she was on Warner. I think she owns the masters herself now, but yeah, it was like a
Love.
really, really big thing for her. But True Moments of My World, Junior did remixes back in the 90s too that never really got put out, unfortunately. But there's a few tracks from here. Running Around Town was, I think, the second single. Imitation of Life was a single with Brothers in Rhythm remixes, which are also great. I'm like losing everybody that's below 40 years old right now. It's fine. I'm totally okay with it. This is my entire life. But yeah, so Billy Ray Martin, if you are unaware, go check her out. I'm telling you, she's got an amazing catalog of dance music, an amazing catalog of just experimental stuff. She really is just so phenomenal. I cannot say enough about her. And even though Your Loving Arms is the big hit, go for True Moments of My World. Try Running Around Town. Phenomenal stuff. I love you forever, Billy Ray Martin.
I love that. And just like that, Billy Ray Martin's going to be on our episode next week. I'm just kidding.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. No, I definitely want to check her out more because BT did a couple remixes of hers.
Yeah.
And so, which are.
That's why I feel like I feel like he
they're on
did.
streaming yet, but
I feel like he might have been one of the ones that did Running Around Town from this album. I think that's what made me think of it. He did something. I don't remember. There's something that connects them.
He did two remixes. I remember one of them was called Space Oasis, and I
Yes.
don't remember and then
Yes.
one was maybe the song that you were just talking about. But yeah.
Space Oasis is also from the same album.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's literally it's all the stuff from this album I think you would absolutely love. Like there's like ballads and stuff on here too, but the dance tracks is just like,
I don't mind a ballad once in a while.
Yeah, but like premier 90s dance. And actually for anybody who likes Fred again, he used this. He did a song called Billy Your Loving Arms. That's who he's talking about.
Oh, cool.
It's a take on Your Loving Arms, and that's the original version for anybody who likes Fred again. Sorry.
Love that. Oh my God. Excellent. Well, another incredible episode. We really went down some rabbit holes.
All over the place. I hope y'all like this.
I hope that everyone likes this too, because there's nothing better than going down a great hole. So
well, and also I have to say the thing that's been really, really fun about this is watching everybody engage on Instagram and seeing like you guys sort of like see what you want to either see us talk about or what we are talking about. So please engage there and like comment, say whatever if there's like a specific episode, things you want to dive into. Mm-hmm. I would love that because I saw somebody talk about that they wanted to do either a remix episode or I don't know if it was just Mariah remixes, Madonna's, or whatever, 90s remixes, whatever. Like we could do all day.
Oh my God, absolutely. Z Machine would be like, abs, I'm tuning out.
Right. We'll get her on another one.
We will. Absolutely. Well, thanks again for joining me. And everyone, thanks so much for listening. And until next time, peace out.
Bye.